I'm saying it loud. My mission is to stop you and completely shut you down.
Smack, runner, you're nothing but...
The world's a secret chord. Did it play any please the Lord?
That's why they get that extra money.
For music,
Oh, shit.
did it play any too much. It's a coordinates are broken. Hallelujah. 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 Maybe there's a God above. All I ever learned from love is how to shoot somebody who had you love. It's not a cry you can hear at night. It's somebody who's seen the light. It's a coordinate to a broken. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. Oh, we're not gonna take it anymore. We've got the right to choose it. There ain't no way we'll lose it. This is our life. This is our song. We'll fight the powers that be just. Don't pick contest and because you don't know us, you don't belong. Oh, we're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. Oh, we're not gonna take it anymore. Oh, you're so condescending. Your goal is never ending. We don't want nothing from you. Your life is right and jaded, boring and confiscated. If that's your best won't do. We're right and free and fight and you'll see. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. No way. We're right and free and fight and you'll see. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore.
How you doing? What show are we on? Truth. is viral.
The truth is viral, people. So take 2 penicillins and call me in the morning.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell. It's January 2nd, 2021. And in just a few hours, I'm going to be packing up all of my gear and heading to Washington, D.C. to go to the President's Stop the Steal rally, because we are going to fight for Trump. And I have some people to thank for helping, defray the expenses here. Got Ed C. Thank you very much. Robert W., my man. Rosie, my brother David. Not a blood brother, closer. Marine brother. I love you, man. William, he's a new viewer. Just found me. Bless you, brother. You must have some confidence. I won't let you down. Frank from Texas, Godspeed and good luck, he says. Dale chipped in, and so did my buddy Skip from New York. You rock, brother, both of you. Aaron was generous. Love that girl. Special thank you to Maureen, who has been supporting the show for years with a small, regular, monthly donation. I can't tell you how many times that saved me. And, of course, my buddy Calvin, Underdog, and his bride, Polly Purebred. They actually make a lot of what I do possible. Calvin's a very generous man. And there's one other thing before we get started with tonight's show that I want to talk to you about, and that's this. These are the death cards, contemporary with the Gulf War. I sold these to one of my subscribers years ago and promptly lost them. I couldn't find them to save my life. But while I was going through and packing everything I needed to find, look what I found. So here you go. Limited edition death cards from Iraq. What's this guy? Hamid Raji Shah Al-Tikriti. Ooh, bad guy. The Joker, I think, probably Saddam Hussein. But anyway, this fella sent me $50, and I promptly lost what I told him I'd give him. He said, don't worry about it. No problem. If you ever find it, let me know and hook me up. Here it is. I'm letting you know. Get back in touch with me, man, because we were friends on my last Facebook account, the last one that Mark Zuckerberg nuked, and I don't have the conversation anymore. I don't even remember who I owe these cards to. But when I owe people something, I deliver. So it may take a while. But anyway, you guys know that I don't like to do donations, but I had to for this special event because there is much more going on than you realize. Okay, you know that the president has asked all of us, every single one of us, to come to Washington, D.C. and stop the steal, right? Well, I'm a Marine. I have contingency plans. I've been wanting to go back to Washington, D.C. since I left the last time in 2015. I've got some things to do. And one of the first things that I'm going to do when I get to Washington, D.C. is go to my Representative Jack Bergman's office. He's the congressional representative for the 1st District of Michigan. And I've got a little surprise for Jack Bergman because I'm bringing a couple of buses of his constituents to his office first thing Monday morning to demand that he reject Joe Biden's electors from the contested states. Over 140 other representatives have done it so far, but General Bergman hasn't. So we're going to go talk to Jack, and we're going to get him to get his poop in a group, get with the program, and support our president. Later in the day, or maybe the next day, I'm still waiting for his press person to give me a solid meeting time. I'm going to go back to the general's office, and we're going to talk about the 264 congressmen, representatives, and senators who have been accused of sexual discrimination, sexual assault, and rape. In 1997, Congress passed what's called the Congressional Accountability Act, which makes representatives and senators anything but accountable for their actions. See, what happens is when a claim of sexual discrimination or assault or rape or whatever is made against a congressman, senator, or a member of their staff, then this law allows them to make hush money payments to the victims in exchange for non-disclosure agreements. 17 million of your tax dollars have been paid to these victims. And the perpetrators get off scot-free because of the non-disclosure agreement. Nobody ever knows what happened. Well, General Bergman was in town for the opening of the Republican headquarters a few years ago, and I spoke to him about this. You're going to love what he has to say.
The short answer is there should be total transparency in any of these. Names are named, and there should be not one federal dollar spent on any claim settlement.
Can you imagine that, folks? 264 congressmen and senators named and shamed. That's almost half of Congress. So General Bergman and I want to create legislation that repeals the Congressional Accountability Act and replaces it with something better. That's side mission number 1. Side mission number 2 is to go to the White House. You're never going to get anywhere near the White House, Bobby. Guess what? I've almost got an invitation. Check this out.
For 30 years. The day after Gaddafi was killed, I called NATO headquarters in Brussels.
It's all Democrat governments, and I think they do it for political reasons, because there'll be less activity, and you're doing even better if you have a governor that you want the House was doing.
You have nothing weaponized. I have audio from this official news culture
And also,
telling me that Obama lied.
You have to have a governor, because, right now, Michigan's...
So what does little Bobby Powell know that could send Barack Obama to prison for the rest of his life? Or worse? Well, seeing as how I'm a journalist, right? I went to college for it and everything. Not a blogger, not a podcaster, not to denigrate those folks or those terms, but doggone it, I know what I'm doing. I go to the source for my information. I don't rely on rumor, innuendo, or somebody's opinion. When I want to know what's going on so that I can share it with you, I go to the source. And in this particular instance, I went to NATO headquarters in Brussels. I called, and the day after the Gaddafi had been killed, I wanted to get an interview, and I was told something shocking. You ain't going to believe this. So I spoke with the official NATO spokesman on duty, right? And he told me on the record that Obama lied about his reason for intervening in Libya. For weeks prior to the NATO invasion, Obama was telling the mainstream media, and indeed the entire world, that the United States had to intervene in Libya because Gaddafi was about to use chemical weapons on peaceful protesters. Where have we heard that before, right? But this NATO spokesman told me that Gaddafi had no WMDs, and that in fact, NATO had been coordinating their disposal since 2003. Here's a snippet from that interview.
Part of the issue with Gaddafi was he was very demonstrably drawing down his old WMD capability. Now that the raw materials were there, and those needed to be secured, but there was nothing weaponized because they'd very deliberately stopped that program.
That would be enough to send Barack Obama to prison, don't you think? Taking this country to war, ordering the death of a sovereign of another country over a lie. You want to know the truth? Obama and Clinton were using this Arab Spring. Matter of fact, it was their creation. They were using the Arab Spring to surround Israel with hostile Islamist regimes. They just blew up the Middle East for no good reason whatsoever. Did you know you can buy a slave in Tripoli today for $400? Obama built that. But that's not all of his problems. I've been doing this for a while. I've got this guy nailed. All we need is somebody with the cojones to do something about it. Could Obama be charged with murder? Oh, yeah. I told Mark Meadows that he'll find useful my interview with Nate Wessler, an ACLU lawyer with the National Security Project who sued Obama and excoriated him in this next clip for ordering the extrajudicial killings of 3 American citizens, including a completely innocent child, without giving them any sort of due process whatsoever.
So if the government in fact had information that Anwar al-Awlaki was engaged in actual activity that was likely to lead to the deaths of U.S. citizens or others, or that he actually had engaged in that activity, then that should furnish the government with grounds to go to court, seek an indictment, charge him, and proceed to trial. And there are lots of examples in recent years and in the further past of successful prosecutions against people accused of terrorism. And really, without more information from the government, it's impossible to know what kind of evidence they had. If they had to go to court, they would have to produce evidence to the judge or the jury, prove their case, and then a verdict would be issued. Here, the government, the president, and those working for him seem to have taken on the duty of judge, jury, and executioner all by themselves.
Okay, now, folks, what I've got here is a copy of the Federalist Papers. This is a selection of writings by our founding fathers. And in Federalist Paper number 47, James Madison writes, "No political truth is certainly of greater intrinsic value, or is stamped with the authority of more enlightened patrons of liberty than that on which the objection is founded. The accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands, whether of one, a few, or many, and whether hereditary, self-appointed, or elective, may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny." Think about that. The very definition of tyranny. Now, when Barack Obama took it upon himself to illegally kill an American citizen, that day, September 30th, 2011, he became a tyrant. Obama did not seek congressional oversight or judicial review before ordering the deaths of these Americans. He didn't even charge them with a crime. He simply picked up his pen and phone and ordered the CIA to kill them, even though they were far from any battlefield. Now, I'll grant you, and I will agree with you 100%, that Anwar al-Awlaki was a scumbag terrorist who needed to die. But the fact is that he was an American citizen. And so was his innocent 16-year-old child, Abdul Rahman, who was killed 2 weeks after his terrorist father in a drone strike that Obama ordered. During the confirmation hearing of Justice Kavanaugh, who's from South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham asked him if an American's constitutional rights followed them, even when they were overseas. And Justice Kavanaugh answered in the affirmative. So to most people, the actions of Barack Obama and those working for him sound like murder. And the MSM mob likes to remind us constantly that not even the president is above the law.
I'm Pete Santilli, and you're watching The Truth is Viral.
Do not click away. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
What is happening? Trace, we called it.
I'm here today because people are dying.
It's time to let our fear go. It's time for us to stand shoulder to shoulder.
folks, going to Washington, D.C. to enlist other representatives and senators to join General Bergman and I in this We Want Names campaign is way beyond my meager means. And due to my history of uploading conservative Christian content, I've been demonetized and shadow banned just about everywhere. So I really need you guys' help. And, whatever won't put you out, I want you to send it to me at bobpowell.blogspot.com. You hit that PayPal button or hit the paypal.me/thetruithisviral link in the description below. Okay. Now, this is going to be an epic event. It's going to be history. It's going to be biblical. You want me there to be your eyes and ears. And we'll bring this country back. We'll get rid of all these treasonous scumbags. And maybe have some kind of a life in 2021 with Donald Trump as our president. Wouldn't that be great? Yes, sir, it will. Now, contrary to popular belief, I'm not always Mr. Serious News Guy. I do have a sense of humor. And before I leave you tonight, I want to take just a few minutes and bring some joy into your life. Okay? You're going to like this. Secretary Clinton, I'd like to thank you again for agreeing to come on to The Truth is Viral and making a pledge to be absolutely truthful in this groundbreaking interview. I'm sure that your handlers looked into my background before they would allow you to do this interview. Do you mind if I asked what it was that they told you about me? I'm so flattered it's going to get you nowhere, Madam Secretary. I just thought I'd mention that. Like I said, I'm not one of these lamestream media stooges that you can influence with power, position, or money, and you can't scare me either. So why don't we get right to the interview? For my first question, I'd like to ask why you think that more than 2/3 of the American people believe that you are the most corrupt and dishonest politician in a generation.
I'm a liar! Yeah, I'm a liar!
Well, thank you for that refreshing bit of honesty. And can you tell my viewers what you were doing for the 11 hours that you spent testifying in front of the Congressional Benghazi Committee? And what were you thinking as you were being grilled?
It's getting hot in here.
And what was Congressman Gowdy's response?
You can't hide your lying eyes.
If you had been as truthful in front of Congress as you're being here with me today, what would you have said?
You've been hit by a smooth criminal.
Madam Secretary, what did you tell Libyan Ambassador Christopher Stevens before you sent him to Benghazi to arrange for weapons transfers from Gaddafi's armories to the ISIS terrorists that you've been supplying in Syria?
You know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die.
Over the last couple of years, your life has been consumed with congressional hearings, press conferences, and debates on the presidential campaign trail. And it seems like whenever you're asked a serious question, you just wipe away those questions like you were cleaning a server. Why is that?
I love to dance a little sidestep.
Well, Hillary, you're not that slick, because since the American people sent you packing and elected Donald Trump as their president, the Office of the Inspector General has been looking into the FBI's handling of the Benghazi and email investigations and intends to reopen them in light of the reports that FBI agent Peter Strzok soft-pedaled his interview with you. What do you think about that? And during that unrecorded interview with Peter Strzok, you claimed that you could not remember important facts and events 40 times. Why did you have such a hard time remembering those things during the interview?
Because I got high.
If you're called back to testify about your past scandals, the new looming Uranium One scandal, and that stupid fake Russian dossier that you and the DNC cooked up and paid for, will you continue to lie to Congress and the American people every time that you open your filthy sewer? Well, why are you such a pathological liar? Now, Secretary Clinton, I'm going to hold you to your promise to be honest, and I refuse to let you lay the blame on the Motor City Madman. So what is the real reason that you lie constantly? Whatever. Regardless, the evidence against you is overwhelming. I'd really like to know how you got out of that interview without wearing handcuffs. What did you say to FBI agent Peter Strzok?
Bitch, I'ma kill you. You don't wanna fuck with me.
Dang, that's brutal. Let's go back a little bit, though, to that photograph of you and Barack Obama sitting around a table watching Navy SEALs kill Osama bin Laden. That's been called staged. What were you and the president really doing when the SEALs were attacking bin Laden's compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan?
Driving that train, I'm cocaine.
The list of bodies connected to you and former President Bill Clinton is really quite long. Impressive, actually, when you think about it. You've been accused of killing scores of people from Vince Foster to John F. Kennedy and even DNC email whistleblower Seth Rich. Doesn't it bother you to have that much blood on your hands? You know, one name on your Deadpool list really disturbs me. Buddy. The dog that you got as a puppy while you lived in the White House, who was mysteriously run over by a car on January 2nd, 2022, when he unearthed human remains at your home in Chappaqua, New York. Now, I can understand killing your enemies, okay? It's evil, but I understand it. What I can't understand is why you would have a beloved member of your own family whacked. Did you warn Buddy not to cross you? And if you did, what did you say?
Dead puppies aren't much fun.
Well, that's pretty sick. But tell me, what is it that gives you comfort in the aftermath of the deaths of literally scores of your close associates?
The sound of silence.
Why do you think that you've been able to get away with what can only be described as a serial killing spree?
I've got the power!
Okay, well, let's turn to some more personal issues for a moment, all right? We'll pretend that we're on The View, okay? I'll play Whoopi, you play you. And I'm Whoopi, remember? And Hillary, I want to know about your husband, Bill. I want to know how he describes you as a wife, as a woman, and as a human being. What would he say?
She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you.
And what about him? Is he honest about his sexual perversions? The women that he's abused and raped? What does he tell you when he wants to go out at night to get some?
Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some touch.
Mrs. Clinton, many feminists like yourself just don't like men. And in your husband's case, that's understandable. But Sally Miller, who wrote a book about her affair with your husband, Bill, said that you experimented in college with women sexually. And despite the fact that you publicly disparaged Monica Lewinsky, the intern that your husband did have sexual relations with, what do you really think about her? One story making the rounds on the internet quotes John Lennon's widow Yoko Ono, stating that, and I quote, "We had a brief romantic fling when I lived with John in Manhattan and Hillary was studying in Yale." Is that true, Madam Secretary? Hillary, when you lay down to sleep at night, knowing that the truth about your crimes is going to come out eventually, what's your greatest fear? All right, you know there's no such thing as werewolves. So you want to take another stab at that? What scares you when you close your eyes?
Cows with guns.
Now, Mrs. Clinton, you gave me your word. You said that for the first time in your life, you were going to be totally honest and completely candid. Now, I want an honest human moment from you. What thought keeps you awake at night?
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
I can understand that. I can imagine that the thought of being executed for treason has to be a nightmare. So how do you deal with that stress? Is alcohol the only crutch that you use to make it from one day to the next? What other substances do you abuse to forget how evil you are and to make life tolerable?
Oxycontin, Xanax, bars, Percocets, and Loratab. Values, morphine patches, ecstasy, and it's all up for grabs.
When you get that high, you've got to have the nastiest case of the munchies. So what's your favorite snack food?
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, fish heads, eat them up, yum.
Okay, so you're good with being so heavily medicated that you eat fish heads. You forget what room that you're in, and you have trouble walking to your limo. Why do you do that to yourself? As a young defense lawyer, you laughed after you got a man who had raped a 12-year-old girl into a coma off with time served by suppressing evidence and smearing the child by stating that she had a thing for older men and that she had asked for it. You take money from Muslim regimes that imprison and kill gays, and you still want to portray yourself as a defender of women and the LGBTQ community. So what do you got to say about that?
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
Mrs. Clinton, it's obvious to me by now that you are literally a malignant narcissist, a pathological lying psychopath that will say and do anything in order to advance the devil's agenda.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
Because you're a freak show, lady. That's why. You're completely out of your gourd.
You may be right. I may be crazy.
Crazy is a given, Hillary, but I'd like to know what it was that made you think that you were qualified to be president of the United States in the first place.
Cause of my hump, 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 my lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Excuse me, folks. That was just a little too much. Okay. Back to the interview. Donald Trump won the presidency, Mrs. Clinton, and now Q is breathing down your neck. If there's any justice in the world, you will be arrested and tried for espionage and treason. What are you going to do if you are indicted? And where will you go? And where's that? You know what, Hillary? I think that the entire Western Hemisphere is going to be pretty hot for you for the foreseeable future. So, you got any other ideas?
I think I'm going to Kathmandu. That's really, really where I'm going to.
Even if you do manage to evade the hangman, after this life is over, you have to think about the afterlife. Do you have any idea what's going to happen to you? Yeah, well, good luck with that. You know, you are without a doubt one of the most evil women it's been my displeasure to speak with. If you could go back and visit your younger self to warn her of the corrupt, decaying shell of a human being that you've become, what would you tell her? And is there anything else that you'd like to say before I close out this interview?
You ain't getting shit. No, you ain't getting dead.
You take from me and Mom. Yeah, how do you like that?
For Christmas.
You know, well,
Well, you know what? That's perfectly okay, Mrs. Clinton, because I'm pretty sure that any present from you would most likely tick. So good luck with your life, because, Sweet Pea, you're going to need it. And thank you again for being on The Truth is Viral. Yeah, folks, we gotta have some fun every now and then, because I'm telling you, if you fill your head with all the doom that's going on in the world, all the evil and nasty things, and there's not room for any love and any joy, it's gonna make your hair fall out. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. In about 10 seconds, the card's going to come up. You're going to get to choose from 2 separate videos. I'd like you to watch them. And don't forget to like, comment, and share them wherever you go on the internet. Put them in your forums. Put them on Facebook. Put them on Twitter and on Google Plus and Gab AI. And I need your help, because I'm shadow banned just about everywhere. I am over the target, and I am taking incoming. So I need you guys to be my foot soldiers out there and help me spread the word. So on the upper left, you can subscribe. On the upper right, you can donate to my mission of saving lives and winning souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell, and as always, God bless, Semper Fi, and hoorah.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter @TheTruthIsViral. Like The